Hi, this is Lisa Dickinson, garden girl at Two Peas in a Bucket, and I'm here today with this week's scene double video. Today I'm creating a layout about my daughter using lots of small scrapbook supplies, including journaling spots, die cuts, labels, and little embellishments. I'll also be making a card with those same supplies, so let's get started. Since this month's garden theme is the little things, I thought I would take that literally and focus on using smaller scale supplies on my page. I've pulled out a bunch of things that I'd like to try to incorporate into my design. This is a waterfall pack from the Basic Gray Capture line. It has die cuts, journal cards, labels, and then a mini alphabet. I've also grabbed some additional labels and an alphabet, also from the Basic Gray Capture line. Then I have these three little mini snippets books from the RSVP Carta Postal line. And they just have a pretty good collection of journal cards that are scaled down a bit. I have this embellishment bundle from the Fancy Pants Memories Captured line, as well as some metal clips from Basic Gray, the flare from Fancy Pants, and these shaped paper clips from Two Peas. And then this is one of my favorite new supplies from Basic Gray, these Post-it note. They're like little pads of Post-it notes in different shapes. Then I also have some envelopes from Basic Gray and then also from Fancy Pants. So I'm going to start with these and see if I can come up with a page. All the little supplies that I'm going to be using have a wide variety of fairly bright colors. So I'm starting this page with a neutral craft cardstock as my base. I've printed out 3 photos of my daughter, and these are just some everyday shots that aren't really event specific, but they were all taken within a few weeks of one another. And I was thinking that I would use them along with one of these new wood veneer cards from Two Peas. These are a really fun way to add some texture to your page, and they're lightweight so they adhere well and they don't add too much bulk. I've printed my 3 photos the same size as the veneer cards because I'm planning to line them up across my page, and I wanted them to have similar dimensions. I like this "You Are Awesome," and I think it'll go well with my page theme because I'm thinking about just listing some of the ways that I think my daughter's awesome. So I'm going to start just by doing a horizontal band across my page of the photos and the wood veneer card. And then I'll see how I can incorporate some of the littler items that I've pulled out. First, I'm going to place some of these Post-it shapes just randomly around my page. I love this supply from Basic Gray because there's a whole pad of each shape, and it's really a lot of bang for your buck. Just like sticky notes, they have one edge with adhesive on them, but I'm going to add some additional adhesive later on to get them to stick to my cardstock. So I'm going to randomly place some just on various spots throughout my page, and what I'm ultimately going to be doing is kind of building a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle with all these little pieces, and I'll move them around and play with them until I get an arrangement that works, but I'm just going to start by throwing a few things on the page and then moving them around until I get a look I'm happy with. The next pieces in my puzzle are some journal cards that I've cut out of this mini snippets pad from Basic Gray. Don't feel like you have to use these cards exactly like they're printed. You can cut out pieces and parts that will work into your design, like I've done with the word fun from this card. I flipped through the pad and I found colors and phrases that work with my page, and with a few quick snips of the scissors, I've got some really cute elements to use on my layout. Next, I'm grabbing some of the die cuts from this Basic Gray waterfall pack. These are all fairly small cardstock shapes, and they'll add some variety into the mostly square and rectangular shapes that I've already put on my page. I'm looking for die cuts that fit into some of these blank spots and fill them without leaving a lot of trapped white space in between it and the other elements. I'd also like to include these decorative bags from Fancy Pants because I think they'd be great to slip a tag with journaling into, or just to add some nice blocks of pattern into the design. I'm working with these 3 smaller bags, and these colors really work well with the basic gray capture collection if you're looking for 2 things to mix and match. I'm going to use them both horizontally and vertically just to fill in some of the bigger spots in my puzzle and take up a little bit of space. I think I'll swap this bike out for the star bag because I like how bold and simple the pattern of the stars are. And I'm not sure, but I think this little tag will slip perfectly in there. Yes, it does. That was totally not planned, but I'm going to go with it. My design is starting to fill up, but I've still got some small spots to fill, so I'm going to see if I can fit a few of these basic gray labels into the mix. This pack has a really great variety of shapes, from circles to brackets to banners to arrows, and I'm pretty sure that I can find shapes to fill in all my gaps. When you're trying to create a real free-form grid like this that has lots of differing shapes, sometimes it helps to layer things, like tucking this circle underneath the sunglasses, and it just helps give it more visual weight. Plus, the layers add a lot of interest and dimension to your design. There's just a few more spots that need filling, so I've grabbed these embellishments from Fancy Pants along with the matching flare from the Memories Captured line. I like this black badge up here to balance out the black bag that's in the lower corner. And then some of these smaller chipboard shapes will fit into these tinier areas that I have remaining. This circle die cut would be a perfect spot to layer another metal badge on top of it. Then at this point, I think I need to work on my journaling and then come back and add in some more bits and pieces. I'm planning to write about some of the things that make my daughter awesome and then work the journaling into these white spots in the puzzle. So I went ahead and adhered all my little pieces down to the background, as well as my row of photos and wood veneer. I also typed up my journaling and printed it on white cardstock, and I cut it into strips. I filled most of the little spots on the page with these blurbs about my daughter, and I've got just a few more spots to add in these last lines of journaling. Up here, I thought I'd add a little bit of layering with a label sticker, and then adhere my journaling strips on top of it. I really like the brightness that these little spots of white add around the page. Okay, so my journaling's in place, and all I really have left to do is to add a few embellishments. I've got some blank spots here where I think I want to incorporate some chipboard or some buttons. I've got this Fancy Pants embellishment bundle, and I think I'm just going to work in some of these little chipboard cameras, maybe down here in the corner, and a few of the stars. Maybe I will swap that out for a button. I'd also like to add in a few of these star-shaped paper clips because I think these are so cute. These are some 2Ps exclusives. Just think I'll tuck this white one in up here on the edge of this little decorative bag. Just slide that one on there. Then maybe add another one down here on this fun tag. I like this darker gold. Maybe just a button right here. I have a bit of a gap right here next to this brown arrow that I'd like to fill up because that's just trapped white space right now. I'm going to slip one of these basic gray metal clips on there just to extend the arrow a little bit longer. I think that'll work well. And with that, I think I've got my embellishments on, and I'm just going to adhere them down. As a finishing touch, I added some white twine to all the buttonholes, and then I also added some machine stitching right up here, and then right here, and also down here. This little star was a great place to add an enamel dot, and then I also used my date stamp on this spot. That wraps up this page, so here's a look at the finished layout. My second project is a card, and I'm starting with a craft base that's a standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to lay it open just so it'll stay flat and start arranging some of these basic gray post-it notes, as well as some of these labels, similar to what I did on my layout. Once again, this is kind of like putting together a puzzle, and you just have to keep moving the shapes around until they fill the space. I'm going to let the elements bleed off of all 4 edges of the card, and then I'll go back and trim off any of the overhang when the arrangement is complete. I've got the front of my card filled up now, so I'm going to go ahead and permanently adhere the post-it notes, since right now they're just being held on by their one little sticky edge. Next, I will grab my trusty clear ruler and craft knife, and I'm just going to trim off these little pieces that are hanging over the edges of the card. Next, I'd like to add a little bit of dimension with some embellishments. I'm using the same Fancy Pants set, and I'm going to layer a couple of little bits on top of my labels just for some interest. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now I'd like to add my sentiment right here on this yellow label. I'm using these little tiny white alphabet stickers that come in the basic gray waterfall pack. I'll just peel them off with my craft knife and see if I can get the word hello spelled out here. Here's the card completed. You can see that I've threaded some white twine through the buttonholes, and then I've also added a couple of enamel dots to the other chipboard elements. Thanks so much for joining me for this video. I hope I've shown you how small scrapbook supplies can make a big impact on your projects. For more information on the Seeing Double series and other scrapbooking videos, please visit twopeasinabucket.com.